Why the Democrats will be decimated in 2024. Parasites and fraudsters may succeed in the short run, but exploitation is limited by the exploited group's capacity to subsidize exploitation. Even those who benefit from welfare and other handouts may one day desire to be independent. Socialism can only be successful in the short run. It can only be successful with those who want power or a handout. It is not a sustainable strategy. In the essay below, we will look at other reasons why Democrats must inevitably fail in the upcoming elections. Biden's win was a reaction to the left's hatred of Trump. Without Hillary as the opposition, Trump probably would not have won in 2016. Without the protracted media campaign against Trump, Biden would not have gotten past the primaries of 2020. Biden's presidency is the result of a nationwide, 4-year-long smear campaign. The claim the 2020 election was hijacked was predicated on Republican unwillingness to admit how effective the anti-Trump smear campaign was. People did not vote for Biden, they voted to oust Trump. Voting for Biden was sold to Democrats as the only way to oust Trump. Biden did not win the election, Trump lost it. The media knew it. This success of the campaign against Trump may end the Democrat Party. Anti-Trump sentiment is impossible to sustain without the Trump presidency. Despite this, the January 6th investigation attempts to keep the waters of hate boiling. With Biden in power, the anti-Trump rhetoric becomes a diversion and is seen as such. Trump derangement syndrome has played itself out. There will be a backlash. By winning the election, Biden must prove the hate of the last 4 years was justified. The assertion was made that Trump was racist, hateful, and destructive. Now Biden must prove the claims. His presidency is open to the same scrutiny the media put on Trump. It is impossible for Democrats to not reconsider the wisdom of electing Biden to eliminate Trump when the impact of the two men on the presidency is compared. Biden was originally in danger of becoming a victim of old white man syndrome, OWMS. This factor was very much in play in the 2020 primaries. The progressives view old, white men as regressive and reactionary. The great hope of 2020 was to put another minority in the White House. That was the only qualification for the Democratic presidential candidate. It did not matter who became president, so long as it was not Trump and was not old, white, and male. Yet, the primaries left Democrats with a runoff between two old white men, one of which was a communist. Biden was packaged as a moderate who would bring the nation back together, while bringing in a progressive platform and eliminating everything Trump. But Trump did not go away. Republicans were not ready to embrace the socialist agenda of the Democrats, nor were they ready to make peace with those who had demonized them for the past 4 years. One of the first things Biden did in his attempt to erase the legacy of Trump was to open the southern border. This was done not because Trump had closed it, but because Democrats see migrants as supporters. Unrestrained immigration and open borders give Democrats more voters. But there is a backlash. No nation can absorb the entire Third World, and the U.S. cannot absorb the populations of South and Central America. All people want entry into better neighborhoods. We all want to upgrade our environment, but what Democrats did not realize is that no one wants their better neighborhood harmed and their property values put into decline. This is as true for the less rich as it is for the rich. The poor do not want homeless persons, jobless persons, or persons with no or few skills or no desire to work, dumped in their neighborhoods. Nothing wakes people up to the dangers of open borders than to see houses decline in value and become difficult to sell. Democrat support for critical race theory, with its demonization of whites and Western culture, had to create its own backlash at some point. A minority cannot dismantle a host nation's culture. Regardless of how liberal a person is, not even liberals can embrace a culture designed to ostracize and denigrate those of a particular race. At some point, a backlash from whites and their allies had to occur. Biden promised to end the social and political divisions the Democrats claimed were caused by Trump. With Trump gone, it is obvious the division was caused by the left's hatred of Trump. A bully who blames his victim for the beating he is given is revealed for who he is once he gets his own way, and things only get progressively worse. The habits of the bully do not change because he has gotten rid of one victim. Trump is no longer president, but the hate of the left has not abated. The left needs to eradicate the right to fulfill its agenda. Socialism and a free republic are not compatible. Democrats need the free market to subsidize their policies, but their policies are not compatible with the free market. The left demonizes the right in order to justify its exploitative taxation of the right. But socialists need conservatives to exist so there is someone paying taxes. Republicans only want to be left alone. Democrats cannot permit autonomy. Subjects must cooperate with the state to push forward liberalism's social agenda. Democrats want to orchestrate the activities of all subjects. They want control. Socialists want authority over our bank accounts and time. Justifying autocratic behavior by means of a social agenda works for a while, but over time it alienates more and more people who just want to be let alone to pursue their dreams. If socialism actually lifted people out of poverty, they would become capitalists and conservative. But more importantly, once people realize Democrats can only succeed through creating social divisions, they lose the credibility they need to push forward their social agenda. The Democrats under Biden have demonized their opponents, but in so doing they have made their failure more visible. People are looking at the results of their policies, and they do not like what they see. People are being woken up to the tactics of liberals by seeing what happens when their tactics succeed. People realize socialism is a mind game played by con artists. Anyone who supports the Democrat Party will end up a victim. There are only two alternatives under socialism. One is either a victim or a conservative. Socialists must rob Peter to benefit Paul. Peter cannot be robbed unless he is first demonized. In the end, socialists reveal themselves as nothing more than a bully justifying their actions, but claiming the victim asked for it. Like those who join a pyramid scheme, Democrats hope they will be Paul. As is the case with all MLM scams, virtually everyone ends up being Peter, paying out more than they gain in benefits. The Democrats will lose in 2024 because too many people have been scammed already. People will not be duped into thinking they will win the lottery of identity politics. But the lottery of intersectionality is all Democrats have to offer. Unless you are at the top of the victimhood pyramid, vote Republican.